Alright guys, I was just at the garbage bin and disposing of our weekly garbage, and I picked up this Samsung 55-inch television, and I just plugged it in to see if it works, and you notice here that it's half of the screen is dark and the other half is bright. So I have repaired televisions before and I have been fairly lucky at that bin by getting TVs that actually work. This one does not work. But I have repaired LED televisions before, if you check out my channel. So I'm really excited to get into this one. This model here is only, from what I see on the back of it, it's only like from 2019 to 2020. So this is a fairly new television, smart TV, UHM I think is what it is. So I'm pretty excited to get into this guy and see if we can repair it for cheap. Alright, so today's the day we take apart that television and diagnose those LED strips. It's always the LED strips. Always. Well, I don't know about always. I'm not a technician, but I'm sure it's the LED strips. Pretty sure. I honestly, I'm not a tech. I don't really know. I'll go get it and I don't know. Alright, I'm just going to start by cleaning it up. I'm going to wipe it down. It's a little dusty. And it was sitting in the gravel over at the garbage, so let's wipe that down. Where's my cloth? So the only thing I don't have is I do not have the legs for it. So it's going to have to be wall mounted wherever I decide to do with it, or put it, or sell it, or give it away. Or one thing I just realized about this thing is I don't see any screws anywhere. So how does that come apart if you have no screws? Let's see if we can unclip this front bezel right here. All right, so we got the bezel unclipped here, and this is probably the infrared sensor detector. Pull out on the cable. Okay, I'm not having any luck disconnecting that sensor on the front, so I'm just going to flip it over. I'm going to try and get this back cover off. So to do that, we're going to need a long, skinny screwdriver of some type or other. Here, I just spun the TV around to show you guys. There's a hole here and there's a hole back here. So you'll need a long screwdriver like so. And we're just going to insert the screwdriver into the back of the bezel here. And we're just going to lightly pry up. And then what we're going to do at the same time is we have another tool here. And we're just going to lightly pull up on that guy like so. I think if I were to do this again, I would start with this side. I would start with this procedure instead of trying to remove that front bezel. Alright, so again, that back cover was not that difficult. We inserted a screwdriver into here. Sorry, this screwdriver right here. Inserted it into that hole, lightly pried up, and then we just worked our way around this way, and we did the same thing on this side. Inserted it into here, lightly pried up, and did the same thing all the way around there. Alright, let's move on to the next step. Okay, next thing I'm going to want to do is remove these speakers. Let's take a look. We got tape here. Looks like we got a speaker plug right here. Disconnect that. And there's just some nice little plugs that are holding these in. Look at that. Nice little blue clips. And of course, here's that wire earlier that I could not disconnect, so I couldn't get that front bezel off. So we will disconnect that wire. Super simple, guys. These just have a little, just push down on it and it slides right out of the board. So that's free. So that front bezel now is going to come off no problem whatsoever. Well, I took out the meter and I was about to measure line voltage coming out of the feed or the supply for the actual LEDs. And if you notice on the board right here, there's this little tiny symbol. Here, I'll post it right here. So that little symbol kind of gives you what the pins are. So the train of thought with this is that you're going to check your input voltage on your plus, and that should be somewhere around 200 or so. And then you're going to check the minus pin for the same strip to see what kind of voltage you have coming out. And because these are wired in series, so any one of the minuses that does not show a voltage would indicate an open circuit and would indicate a burnt LED. I don't know how I can test these because the pins are set up kind of funky. I can't really get a meter inside there. I could flip the board over and check the other side, but I might just take the board off and just give it a quick little look. Alright, so after taking the board off, there wasn't really much to view there either. There was a plastic coating on the other side. So we're just going to go ahead, we're going to remove the IR sensor. Right, next we're going to disconnect the bands for the actual LED screen. So these little guys just pop up, the little black things pop upwards, and then you just slide the ribbons out like so. And I always close them again when I'm done. Alright, I'm going to flip it around and take the front bezel off. Alright, over here there's little metal tabs you're just going to lift up on just to release this board or these this metal piece. And these cover your, I guess what they call the buffer strips. So now that we have that removed, we're just going to, there's some grounding tape that holds these boards to the actual chassis. So we're just going to remove that tape. Again, we're just going to pull it out of the metal bracket and we're just going to let it fall backwards like so. Alright, next what we're going to do, we're just going to flip it around again. And what I'm going to want to do, just so I keep them safe, is I am going to tape those little buffer boards so I want to keep those little buffer boards safe, so I'm just going to gently tape them to the front of the screen here. These stay attached to the LCD panel. Now here's the tricky part. have some place ready to place the LCD screen once you get it up and off. If I had a couple of suction cups, that would work really well. I only have one, so I'm going to be very careful here. I'm just going to lift one side and the other side. You break this panel, it's game over. All right, I've set that aside. Next, we're going to be lifting off these light diffusion panels here. So it's multiple layers is what you're going to see in here, and you want to try and keep them in order. There's a couple of different layers here. All right, I don't want to get any fingerprints on this, so I'm just going to put some gloves on. These are the diffuser panels. It's a bunch of layered sections, so we just want to make sure that we keep them in order and also have a place to put them. So I'm just going to go down here with my tool again and lift these up. Here, I just want to see if I can give you guys a better idea. I don't know if the camera will focus on this or not, but there's the little tab right there. So I'm simply just going underneath and just simply prying as I go this way, like so. Ever so gently. Very, very simple. Just going underneath, prying upwards like so. You can see there's just little tiny tabs. I really hope it's focusing here for you, but little tiny tabs here and there. Let's keep doing it. So before I disconnect this one, I'm just going to index the corner with a marker or a pen, whatever you have. Just so I know which one goes where and how. So I'm not spending 5-10 minutes guessing. There we go. That's number 3. All right, now that we got those 3 sides off, we're going to very gently remove the remaining layers of the diffuser. All right, now we got those out. So the LED bars are back here. So next we're going to very carefully remove our LED wires from our strips. And we got it. And no damage to the connector or to the actual leads. Whew. All right, that was stressful. All right, so next we need to gain access to the LEDs. So we're just going to flip this around. There's not much left. This is all that's left. We got a steel shell with a circuit board on it. That's it. Now we just need to gain access to this plate here. So we're going to be removing this back piece right here, just like we did the other ones. All right, can you guys see this right here? These are the LEDs. This is the strips right here. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4 strips. That's all it is. So next thing we're going to be doing is just bending these little tabs up, and that'll be to remove the strips. Well, this would be a good opportunity to look at what I did purchase. Like I told you before, I could not test the LEDs. So I went on to eBay and I bought these from China. And I'm just going to inspect them quickly. Don't know if they're the correct ones or not. The only thing I see that might be a problem is the connector does not appear to be right. Oh no, we're good. There's a little plug in the middle. Oh wow. So here we go, guys. Here's the LEDs. Again, not tested to see if it was the LEDs. This cost $22 shipped to my door from China. This is a $749 television that is still being sold at Best Buy right now that I picked up for free. So 20 some dollars to give it a try. I'm down. I'm so down. All right, so here's our plastic. We'll get rid of that. Our two new LED strips. Now what we're gonna need to do is flip these little tiny tabs. There's little tabs holding it in. So we're just gonna bend those up real gently. All right, we're just going to take note of how these are positioned, just to make sure we have the right ones in the right spots. So we'll start by removing the first strip on this side. So I am having a bit of anxiety, and the reason for that is I don't see any open or any burnt LEDs. They all look like they're in good shape. But again, you won't really know until we test it, I suppose. So I have an idea. Why don't we just plug these in, plug the television in, and see if they light up. Not sure anything else has to be connected. All we have is a steel board. So if I plug this in, the LED should come on. All right, well that's exciting. You guys saw that? I'm just gonna have to be careful I don't get electrocuted with any residual voltage anywhere. I'm gonna leave that plugged in. All right, let's get these glued back down. So I've already put this one in. That went fairly well. I'll just show you guys how I did that. Double-sided tape on the back here. Just gonna peel that off. And we just want to make sure that Alright, we just want to make sure that we index it correctly. So all the little metal tabs, we want to make sure they're all in the right position. And I just started at one end, pushing down. Just making sure it's indexed properly. Then I just use this tool in between the LEDs just to, as I'm pushing down, just to make sure it's seated correctly. Alright, so we got our tabs bent back down. Just give it another little push. Alright, those are plugged back in. Broken pieces of plastic are gone. Okay. So I guess now we're ready to put our plastic piece back on this side. All right, that's back in place. Now we're ready to put our diffuser back in. So as I unplug this. All right, if you guys notice here, to get these in, so 99% of the time, if you put it back together and you have failed picture or lines in a picture, it's because your ribbons weren't installed correctly. So on the ribbon, we're going to try not to touch the bottom, the little gold contacts, but on the ribbon there's this little blue piece that you can lift up. It's like a little stiffener, and you can use that to actually drive it in back into the slot. So you just position it, because they might be difficult to get back in there, making sure it's under the tabs. And then I just lift this little blue thing, and then I can apply some pressure to seat it back this way. And when I'm comfortable with how it's seated, I push the little latch back down, and we're done. Alright, so now we got to reinstall our metal bands. Go across here. Alright, that secures our buffer boards. And we're just making sure everything is snapped down nicely. Alright, we're good. Try not to get my fingerprints on the edges too much. It might be hard to wipe, but doesn't matter what you do, you touch it and it gets dirty. All right, so this will quite literally be the first time I try it with you guys watching. I don't have the legs for it, so I think I'll just sit it up here somehow, up against the old one. All right, power, power, power. All right, so this is for the prize, the big prize. The big prize. Good thing that was empty. Looking good so far. There you have it, guys. Oh, we actually picked up a subscriber while I was making this video. Oh, that's cool. So it doesn't appear to be any dark spots. Everything looks good. How about some sound? Let's see if we have sound. Check this out, guys. 4K. Cost me $22 Canadian. And about 2.5, maybe 3 hours of work. One little tiny broken piece on the connector for the LED, that was it. And a little chip on the bezel, but wow, look at that picture. So there you have it, guys, another super lucky pick from the garbage. I couldn't be happier. I'm gonna mount this one on the wall, and then the one in behind it, I'll give it away to somebody. The one in behind it was one I picked up at the garbage as well, so didn't cost me anything. So if anybody needs a plasma TV from the 90s, let me know. Anyway, thanks for watching. I hope I helped you guys out a little bit there, and there wasn't a lot of videos on this particular model that were out there. A couple of them were pretty helpful. Went fairly simple, didn't have any really big issues. And if I can do it, guys, here in my garage with the tools that I have, anybody can. Remember that. Especially when you get them for free. And you find the parts on eBay for $22. See you guys next time.